Now, joining me in the studio right now is a lady from the Fife Carers Centre that provides support for the carers across Fife. And we're going to speak more about it just now. So Lesley, Child's Information Officer, thank you very much for coming into Radio West Fife for us.
Thanks for the invitation.
So just tell us about what is Fife Carers Centre exactly?
We're an organisation based in Kirkcaldy but covering all of Fife, and we look after the interests and help to support unpaid carers throughout Fife. So that would be people that were, for example, looking after a member of the family, like you looking after your mum, or a child who couldn't manage on their own because of an illness or disability, an addiction, or perhaps just because they've become frail with older age.
Now, that's interesting when you said it was unpaid carers. Now, when we think of carers, usually people think it's care workers, but it's not exactly, is it?
No, that's true. In the olden days, when people came to your home to help you and were called home help, it was a bit clearer where the job differentiation was. And people do tend to call care workers and care attendants carers. But really, carers are the people who are unpaid for doing it. And the people who are paid by organisations to do it should more properly be called care attendants or care workers.
I see. So what sort of support do you offer for the carers? How can you help them out with what they need to do?
We help carers out in a number of different ways, and these go from helping them to figure out whether they or the person for whom they're caring are entitled to any welfare benefits, for example. Mm-hmm. We would help them figure out what those might be and help them to apply for them. We'd also help them to make contact with statutory bodies like social work mm-hmm. or the healthcare profession, and we'd put them in touch with the appropriate voluntary agencies that might also be able to give them some help and support. And we do a whole heap of other things around that. So we would be giving them information in all sorts of different ways. Written information. We do information sessions, which are a bit, I suppose, like a workshop. And we do one-to-one discussions with people, giving them an opportunity to talk about their concerns and the things that they find difficult in their own caring role, and helping them figure out how that could be changed and how they would go about doing that change.
Mm-hmm. Now, you did mention that you do workshops. Now, you did 20 up to this date. You've done about 25 workshops. So, just tell us a bit more about these workshops and how do they help the carers across Fife?
It's a really good way to get people together in a situation where they know they're going to be with people who have similar experiences and interests to themselves, because mm-hmm. it will be other carers. It gives us an opportunity to reach a larger number of people, because obviously doing one-to-one is great for that individual, but sometimes it could be more logical to do it as a group. We cover a whole range of different topics, some of which are, I suppose, about the conditions, and we work with specialist nurses and so on. So those might be caring for somebody who's had a stroke or has diabetes or something like that. And then we cover something that could be, I suppose, summed up as lifestyle. So it's more about, we've done ones covering topics like building your self-confidence and assertiveness, or helping to keep yourself organised as a carer. And these are very helpful for people who just find themselves thrust into the caring role without, nobody gets training for it. So you have to kind of figure your way out, and this helps you to do that if you're a carer.
It's one of these things that you kind of learn as you go, and sometimes it can be quite a steep learning curve for some people, I see.
That's right, and some people are better at negotiating that than others, and that's not to say that anybody's better or worse at being a carer, but you don't know what you need to know until you're right in that situation. Yeah.
And beyond the workshops, you also provide complementary and alternative therapy for the carers, don't you?
We do. We've been working with the students of the Adam Smith College. We're based in Kirkcaldy. That's where our premises is. So we work with the Adam Smith students who are studying complementary therapies and so on. And in their final year, final stage, they offer carers the opportunity to experience some stress-reducing therapies and so on, and that helps both the carer and the student. And we also use some of our the money that we raise to buy therapies from alternative therapy sort of therapists. We use one in Dunfermline, a couple in Kirkcaldy, and one in the East Nook.
And you also have a massage therapy chair. Tell me a bit more about that one.
Yes, known to us as the Sugarly chair.
I see.
And you'll have seen them in places like shopping centres and airport lounges and so on. We don't charge a fiver for it. It's free for carers to come in and use. And it's really very effective. If you have a go in it, Matthew, it feels a bit like, not that I expect you to know, but it feels a bit like some large Swedish bloke giving you a good going over at the back there. It's very effective.
It's not an image I don't want to have in my head,
No,
to be brutally honest about that one. But which one's more popular? Is it the therapy or the massage chair?
It goes in. What tends to happen is that people will start with the therapies, and then perhaps they've never experienced that before, and then it gives them the impetus to maybe have a go at the Sugarly chair, and it means that they can come into the centre, relax for the period of time that they're using it, be quiet, have a cup of tea, and just be away from their caring role without feeling guilty, as sometimes carers do, about not doing their caring. It gives them a chance to do something else that helps them then to feel physically a bit better. And carers always tell us how much better they sleep that night after they've had their therapies and so on.
You've got to have that sort of downtime, that sort of release time, which in caring is it's very hard to get that sort of time to do that.
It sure is, yes.
And you also said that you also support other carer support groups. You support the Dunfermline Carers Group, the Males Carers Group, Meeting Point Lunch, Central Fife Carers Group. I could go on and on. So how exactly do you support these groups? Is it just basically giving them advice and consultation on certain matters?
With most of those groups, what we do is we have somebody who turns up at the group and joins in their meeting, and we're there for people to consult about individual things. We bring them news about what's happening around Fife that we know of that might help them as carers. And it's really just another opportunity for carers to get together and exchange advice and information and news and so on in a little less formal way than perhaps a workshop or so.
And just finally, since we're running very tight for time here now, not only how we can get in touch with the Fife Care Centre, but it's also quite easy to refer someone as a possible carer, isn't it? It's
very easy to refer somebody who's a carer, and it must be the carer who's referred, and they can do it themselves. The person who's they're caring for can do it, or we get quite a lot of referrals from health or social work professionals as well. And they just need to give us a telephone call. We take their details and arrange to meet up with them, and that can be at their own home, at the home of the person they care for, in the centre, or somewhere else that's mutually convenient.
And how can we get in touch with the Fife Care Centre if we want to do that, or just to find out more about it in general? Okay,
you can telephone us on 01592 642 999, or we have a website where you can get hold of us, which is www.fifecarerscentre.org.uk, and on there you'll find all the details of how to get hold of us and how to get there by bus or car.
I see. So, Lesley Childs, thanks very much for coming on to the Friday Night Lounge to talk about Fife Care Centre.
Thanks for the invitation, Matthew.
So that was Lesley Childs, Information Officer of the Fife Care Centre.